Hello there everyone, my name is Crazy Caleb and welcome to Dialtones. Now this module is a very tricky module only because of the fact that there is because this has to do with sort of identifying sound and how some of this stuff works. As you can see by the way that we're listening to this, it has a series, when we press these buttons, it has a series of different button presses which can be given. And what our goal is that there's going to be a word being transmitted into the module based off of when you press this play button, and our goal is to transmit something back. Now, one of the things that I need to point out immediately, and immediately I mean by immediately, if we take a look at this word list here, and the way that it's going to be transmitted in a second, there is going to be a series of there's going to be only a couple words that have a duplicate first letter. In this case, that's going to be A, E. That's going to be it's going to be N. That's going to be a S. That's going to be a T, and that's going to be it. These are going to be the only cases that have the first letter being the exact same. So if you happen to figure out the very first letter for most of these words, you should be good to go. And that's going to be what we're going to be doing. This module is going to be giving us a word when we press this play button. It's going to give us a series of different numbers that is going to be corresponding to a specific dial tone, which is going to give us a word. So if we take a listen here, that is very fast and it's very quick to do. So now one of the things that's very important is that you happen to take a look, even for all the duplicates, you can figure it out based off of the second letter. That's very important to note down. So now, how exactly does this work? How exactly do we get letters or words or a word from this? If we take a look, the numbers associated with each of the dial tones in the sequence can be converted to a word as follows. Each run of the same number represents the nth letter in the numbers cell in the diagram where n is the length of the run. So in this example, for example, let's get K, for example. And how that would work is we would do 5 and then 5. Because of the fact that if we take a look, if we do 5, if we just do 1, 5, that's going to give us the first letter. In this case, that's going to give us a J. If we do 5 again, that's going to give us a K. If we do 5 again, that's going to give us a Lima. That's what we need right there. So if we happen to do 2 5s, that's perfect. Now, here's where things get a little bit interesting. The number 1 is used to separate consecutive runs of the same letter as it has no letters associated with it. So if you happen to have, for example, if we happen to do, let's do like a 6-6, to get November, and then we wanted to get an Oscar afterwards. What we would do is we would separate it by a 1, and then we would do 666. That's the way how this module works, and that's essentially what we're going to be trying to figure out here, is trying to figure out which letter we're looking at here, and which and how we're going to submit this module back is pretty straightforward. So first things first, let's figure out our word that we need to submit, or the word that it's actually giving us. So let's hit the play button and let's try and figure out the first sound. And one of the things that I also like to do with it is I like to do a play and then I like to do one of the buttons immediately after, because if you happen to press one of these buttons, it immediately cancels out the rest of the sequence. So if we do like, for example, we do the play button and we do the 9, if we're trying to listen to it, that's one way that you can potentially get the correct sound that you need to. It's all about trying to figure out a way how it equals the exact same, because if we take a listen, they sound very similar, but there are some subtle differences with it. That's what makes this module very tricky, is that aspect. So let's try and figure out which sort of pitch it is, because if we have the 1 2 3, bum bum bum, and then these guys are going to be what we're trying to figure out with regards to, I believe, volume. Sounds like it's increasing in volume. Yeah, that makes sense. And essentially what we want to do is we want to figure out, first off, which pitch we're at. And the 0 is pretty distinct. It's a very high-pitched note. What we want to do is we want to figure out which pitch we're looking at, and then we want to figure out which volume it is in that specific section. So it's like it sounds like it would be in the 1 category, so let's try that. That sounds like a 4 right there. That sounds different. So that's going to be, our first number is going to be a 4. So it's going to be, that's 2 4s. That's 2 4s. So that's going to start us with a hotel. Now, hotel happens to be a unique word. Let's try this. So let's make sure, if we can prove this right, what we can do is we can do, for example, the next letter, in this case being an echo. So that's going to be so we had a 4 4. And then for echo, that's going to be a 3 3. 2 3s. So that should be Yeah, that sounded the exact same as what we just listened to before, so this means that our word is helix. So now, we've determined our word that the module was trying to give to us. How exactly do we solve this module? Our goal is going to be submitting this back into the module in some way, shape, or form. And to solve this module, we're going to be submitting the word that is after the word obtained from the dialtones in the word list equal to the last digit of the serial number, wrapping around if necessary, and the word list is going to be in reading order. So first things first, let's figure out what our last digit of the serial number is. In this case, that's going to be a 4. So now we're going to count from helix in reading order. We're going to count 4 spaces, 1, 2, 3, 4, over to mania, and that's going to be the word that we're going to be submitting into this module here. So now let's take a look and let's see what we need to do in order to submit this into the module. Now, we're going to be pressing the record button to begin input, and the word must be submitted in the same format as the word on the module, in a sequence of numbers. That's what we're going to be doing with this module. So now, for Mike, for this first little bit right here, that's going to correspond to one single 6. That's how we get the Mike up here, right here. Next up, Alpha is going to be corresponding to a 2. We only need to press that one once. November is going to be a 6, 6. Now, we would normally separate that with a 1 if the M and the N were together. However, in this case, the M is separated by the A from the N, so that means that we're simply just going to be doing no 1s in this case. Next up is going to be an India. India is going to be 4 3 times, so 4, 4, 4. And then Alpha is going to be 8, 2 again. And this is what we're going to be submitting into the module here. So let's do this. So let's do a 6, 2, 6, 6, 4, 4, 4, 2. We're going to hit the record button again, and there is no way to clear your input except submitting. And if you do happen to strike, it will regenerate a new word. Keep that in mind. So let's hit the record button, and just like that is a solved module. The concept and the solving process of the module is not bad, but getting the word from the sounds is the trickiest part of this entire module. It is very sound heavy, but if you can do what I kind of just did there, where it's kind of just like pressing the play button and then a specific sound, you should be good to go. It's very particular about that, but it's not that bad of a concept, and it's easy because most cases you happen to get a letter that is unique on its own case. The only ones, as I mentioned before, A, E, the N, the S, and the T. Those are the only ones that are going to be not unique, and even then, they are kind of in their own little worlds apart from each other. That's the nice thing. So, let's take a look at one final example. This module is not that bad to do. It's just a little bit of a process of just kind of brute forcing with the play button and trying to figure out which pitch it is and which number it specifically corresponds to. Let's take a listen. Bum, bum. That's definitely going to be in the 3 range. So that first one that we had here. So it might be just a normal 3. That sounds like a 6, yeah. So that's going to be a 6 in this case. So let's hit it again. Okay, so that's going to be an N. So it was 2 6s. It was a 6 6, and then something else. So now this happens to be a case where we happen to have we're going to be happening to have a duplicate letter. Good. I'm glad I got one. So now what we need to do is we need to figure out if it's Nimoy or noted, because if we listen. Now, one of the things that's actually important to note with Nimoy and noted is noted would be on the exact same note. Do we happen to hear a 1 in between the break here, based off of our knowledge here? And then do we hear a series of 3 different 6s afterwards? That's going to be important to note because both of them are going to be having to have 4 of the same sound. But is the 6 going to be played again? That's the question. No, it's not. So this means that we're able to distinct and say that it's just going to give 4. So, ooh, hold on. That's strange. Why is it giving me an L? Wait, hold on. Maybe it's a different letter. Oh, it's a 9. Ooh, whoa, okay. Yeah, it's a little bit different. The 6 was a little bit different, so it's not an N actually. Hold on. So it's going to be a 9, which in this case, it was 2 9s, I believe. So now that's going to be a waltz. So it's going to be a... that sounds right, yeah. So 9. Yeah, that makes sense. So it's going to be a W and then an A. That's what we need to submit this module. So yeah, as you can see there, those 2 sounds were very easy, and I actually just got thrown off on that by myself. So that's what we need to note down, and we need to make sure that we are able to tell our word makes sense. Because what happened was that I thought it was an N, but in this case, it was not playing the 4 for Nimoy, and it wasn't playing the exact same sound that I had beforehand, so that did not make sense. So now our word is going to be waltz that we got from the module, and if we take a look at the last digit of the serial number, which is an 8, and we're going to loop back around to the beginning, let's count how many spaces, let's count 8 spaces from our module here. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 to Drake, and then let's submit this into the module. So Drake is going to be a 3, then a 777, then a 2, then a 5-5, and then a 3-3. Look at that. So 3-7-7-7, 2-5-5, 3-3. And just like that is a solved module. As always, thank you guys for watching. Remember to stay crazy, stay cool, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.